able to, work, if you're open to it, do some more collaborating and start,
Sure.
working with the Australian market and
Oh, awesome.
expanding awareness of what you're doing, because I know you do a lot of stuff. Well, I'll talk to you about all that later. Let's see, it's still okay. It is. It's okay. We are live. So we got, for those of you who are walking in, we got Michael Muir today. It's always exciting. Hadn't seen him in a long time. We'll
Thank
be
you.
right back. We're gonna just play a little something to give people time to come in. I don't have the regular intro hooked up on the system yet. Found a higher elevation. I did a video earlier. Lower elevation. See that? Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. That light's even coming in. At least I can see it. I don't know if it's going to come out. It's a beautiful planet. We're a beautiful species. Everybody's got a role here. We don't understand it. It's time to move away from the lower density vibrations. Veil's been lifted. Plenty of light beings, higher energies that we don't understand and can never understand as human beings. But we have company here on this earth, and we always have, but now that the veil's lifted, a lot more people are seeing it. Keep your head up. Keep the faith. Most of all, stay in your own power. Protect it. It's yours. It's the only thing you can own in this universe is you. Nobody can own you, and you can't own anybody. And anyone that ever came up with the idea, or whoever did come up with the idea that anything could be possessed on this earth was wrong. There's no such thing as a patent or a copyright or a trademark. No such thing as a contract. Nothing. Soul is soul. We're all one. And that's not a cliche. The light has won. We're all going to be part of this mutual rising. It's not just a soul thing. It's not just a Gaia thing. It's not just a solar system thing. Galactic. It involves more than our sun and our moon. All the stars that we can see. It's a big time. Everybody that's here signed up for it. And it's about to pay off. I'll see y'all at the after party. Todd Medina, Soldier One Studios, wishing you peace, power, protection, and big love to you and yours. One. Hello, Michael.
And that was beautiful. Wow.
Thank you. Yeah, that was actually from, Morgan and I are living in Arkansas now. We finally got a home after 3.5 years. Finally found a place in a small town that I came here when I started that leg of my journey in October of 2016, and that's from like October. So that would be what? Was that 4 years already? 4 years ago.
Wow.
God, he sure looks young. But yeah, so I went with my friend, my sister, went up to the Ozark Mountains, and she had to go visit a relative, and I just went, I went for a drive and found this place, and then I came back one day and I put it to some music, and yeah, it's funny how these things come back around on the anniversaries. I want to tell you, I didn't get to participate last time you came on Soul Speaks 5D. Our beloved sister hung the Gwen, the comic, the Soulogy comic. She hosted it. It was a great show. It was actually a fantastic show. I really enjoyed it. I watched it, but I really enjoy sharing space with you, Michael.
Thank you.
You're a very brave, beautiful man, and I just know what it's like to put yourself out there day after day after day. And, a lot of people, think that it's easy, I feel like shit today. So I've done one, and I'm just telling Morgan, I don't know how I'm going to do these next two, but that's what we do, right? And so that's what you do. That's what you do. And when you come on, you're always raw. You're always so raw and real, and you don't BS. You just tell it like it is. If you feel good or you don't feel good, and and you're just a very humble, embodied, and including your human aspect, which is so important. So welcome back, and it's been a hell of a ride in 2020, and I know you're plugged in all the time, and that's both makes it kind of gives it some continuity and some consistent chaos.
Yeah, for sure.
So so let's talk about whatever you want to talk about. But let me just open it with June came. It really seemed to be a huge change this summer, and of course we're watching everything that's occurring on this cartoon. And I don't mean that with any disrespect. It just, it's interesting to see such huge expansion of individuals in the collective consciousness, and at the same time, the parallel of this cartoonish type of thing happening, which is actually, in my opinion, the best thing we could have ever done with the great design. Congratulations to everybody for being a part of orchestrating this current situation around the world. But how's it been for you? I mean, Lionsgate, by all account, seems to have just blown away, as everything in 2020 has. Like the first week, 10 days, and I would say even going into the second week, just blew the rest of 2020 away. You could combine all of 2020 and put it next to the first 10 or 14 days in August, and it wouldn't even, like they say in Texas, about the size of a fly shit on a speck of pepper. But so how's it been for you, though?
Interesting.
Yeah,
What can you say, really? Yeah, I mean, we have a similar experience with the whole corona thing as you guys do, obviously, in the US. Smaller numbers of people in Australia, so, but still the same sort of fears going through the collective, still the same sort of restrictions going through the collective in different ways. So, yeah, I mean, I think, a lot of people, I saw you interview Judith Kusel. I think it was a week or two ago.
Monday.
And Monday, was it?
First show of the week.
Yeah, beautiful. And I really resonated with what she had to say around, just feels like we're in such a voidal space at the moment of alchemization, I would call it. I'm currently away from Sydney. I'm in Cairns, which is 3 hours from Sydney, in far north Queensland, which is a tropical area. So just having a little bit of space here, a bit of time out, and doing a little bit of, and this is why I did the Lionsgate for this year online in Cairns. Yeah, I feel that it's been a very inward time, and also just processing personally my own wounding, that I'd been able to distract from up until now. It was kind of this stuff around just deepening into the core, the physical core, and working with the stuff that was coming up around the external situation and all the change that we've all been feeling. And so there was the 3D part of me that was going through the anxiety and the some abandonment feelings and sort of deep sort of inner child stuff. But I feel also connected to, if you want to expand out of that sort of 3D sense, the sort of releasing of deep galactic war stuff, I feel, in our beings, so that we can expand into this new phase that we're being invited to expand into. And it was interesting when it all first flew on. We went into lockdown in the middle of March in Australia. I would walk down to a little the harbour in a park near where I live, and I would just sit there on a rock, hopefully not getting arrested, but I didn't. and and it was.
I'm clueless. What do you mean? Could you get arrested for sitting on a rock?
Oh no, they were quite. You know, you were supposed to only be leaving the house to do exercise. They were quite extreme. Someone got I think fined for meditating or something. It was very extreme, but you know, that's what it is. And I would look at the sun, and I would feel so much love. Actually, I felt there was so much galactic frequency coming in, and it has been since, you know, the lockdown in March. I feel like there's so much of our cosmic support for us to sort of evolve energetically and our light body and our consciousness, you know. So I do feel that we're in this sort of deep. I mean, every time I come on, I keep banging on about a deep purge out, but it's still happening. It's still happening, you know.
So, you know, I'm waiting for the day when we do a show and somebody comes on and says, you know, why isn't anything happening? You know how that happens in our journey. I think enough people come on here. It's got to be pretty prevalent. You know, where you have all these activations and elevations, and then all of a sudden you're like sitting there going, "Where's everybody?" Like, you know, your team leaves and you're just sitting there in limbo.
Yeah, and that's a fair point, hey, because I did feel that for a little while. It feels like I'm coming out of it, and I think that was this sense of inner abandonment that was coming in. It was almost as though the teams went really quiet. It felt like there was a bit of a switch over going on, and still feels like it's anchoring in. I feel like there's definitely new energies. Whether they've been there before and we just haven't been able to access them dimensionally through our awareness, or whether they're, I think, more to the point that they're now accessible to us because of the shift in the consciousness of the planet. I think there's a lot going on in Middle Earth, energy supporting us from below, if you will, and also different alignments coming in astrologically, and so that we can actually connect with different galactics or different energetic frequencies from the galaxies. And I feel personally I've had a lot of more connection with the Lyran beings, specifically around a portal in the centre of Australia, but also really quite a lot into the Lions Gate, and just prior to that, and from the Galactic New Year, it feels like they've been very strong in, I think, opening the hearts of the collective, and really helping us expand into ourselves, if you will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and let me let the echo die out. And then you have the contrast of these things that we're talking about. Neil Devaney, our beloved brother, just made this comment. It's harsh in Oz for you. If we do not stand up to energetically, it would be implemented worldwide. So you have that playing out, and then you have what you're talking about. And I know that resonates with a lot of people, and that does with me. Maybe not as in much specificity as with you, because you are like a multi-plugged in, But and so you look at it, and he makes a good statement here. I like that he said to stand up to this energetically. I don't know if I can agree. We're not all here to agree, but I don't know if I agree with it. It will be implemented worldwide, and I only mean that from the fact that I feel like energetically, if I even consider that, not that I'm denying it, but just like I'm going to transform that. That's just the way I am. But definitely get what you're saying, Neil. But so you have this thing happening for you guys in Australia, and then you also have what you described very well, which a lot of people can attest to here, which is the dimensions are bleeding over. Or like you said, we're elevating, so we've got a better line of communication, and they're slowly, deliberately coming in. So it's kind of an interesting contrast.
Yeah, and I sort of feel that everyone really needs to stay in their lane, you know, in regardless to how they feel personally inspired to work with this time. I mean, I do have friends that are very overtly challenging the mainstream narrative, and do cop a lot of shit for that potentially, because there is such a deep fear matrix being triggered in many people around disease that that it's I have felt that it's wiser for me to put my energy towards strengthening my physical vessel and energetically being in alignment and supporting a shift in my own consciousness, as we all are in this community, to really hold the bigger picture. Because I feel like every day, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I see stuff that I could just really get terrified about coming into form, both in the new order sense and also, you know, the whole vaccination stuff. But, you know, I feel personally that we have to hold our own of a higher timeline, and if there's enough of us, I think Judith mentioned this, which I thought was really beautifully spoken about, which was, you know, we are creating, I feel, the new earth day by day, and we can't even, and every week these weekdays, this year feels like a year, and so much has been shifted and transformed interdimensionally that we really, I don't think, have any way forward right now other than one day at a time, holding our light and connecting with our tribes and doing our inner work. I don't think there's much we can do really, other than be conduits for this transfer of energy that will then shift the whole grid system.
Yeah, I agree. So, and I really liked that show with her. You know, I've done several shows with her, like I have with you. And I always keep an eye on the metrics, not because of, oh, how many views do we get, and it's not like that. I look for energetic patterns or messages. And that show, normally we do a show, like this show will probably, let's say, this time of day, we might get, you know, say 1,200, 1,500 views. And I know that within 36 hours, it'll be like 4,500 or 5,000. Her show went from like 1,100 when we got off to 5,000 in 24 hours, and it's still going, which tells me that you know, there is that influence and reality of the shared energy that we have. We might call it the Trinity energy, the energy that's created in the non-physical, where two or more gather. But to your point, that we've been doing this, all of us, some of us for much longer than I have, but I'm just saying what we've been doing is coming to fruition, regardless of what's happening in the physical experience. And I think we've got to remember that we have created everything in the energetic field first. So I love your advice about, you know, Bruce just said it too, what you were saying about Judith, 1 foot in front of the other, one day at a time, because the truth itself is changing one day at a time. We're developing, and I don't know. To me, I look at everything and I think, okay, you know, because Morgan obviously is from Australia, and so she'll show me some stuff, and I'm like, how did this happen? I had to actually go around the corner and do deep breathing after she showed me one video in Victoria. But then I thought to myself, so how do, you know, the normal question, how do people not say something? And, you know, there's all kinds of different dynamics involved there. But then I think to myself, wait a minute, we are actually, the change is actually made through our consciousness. So yes, the words, the actions have to align, or there's really no meat, you know, in the expansion of our consciousness. But there's a lot to be said for the changes, for the transformations that we've made in the non-physical etherical consciousness that's now being you know, being replicated onto our physical experience, even if it doesn't look that way. So yeah, I'm with you. And then the other thing too being, if I'm focused on what we've all been focusing on the last few years, for one, that's the best thing I can do. And number two, I'm not focusing on the things that are going to basically impede my progress or impede my contribution.
Yeah, I think, and I'm just personally, I'm just getting, I guess the space that we've all had in this time has allowed just to really watch the hooks that hook you in, and when you get taken off your center into some sort of fear or anger or rage or whatever it may be around what's going on. I mean, that's that. If there's a strategy, that's the strategy, to keep us in confusion and divided and out of our hearts, and connected. So I think as much as we can to come together, whether it's, you know, through Zoom or face to face, whatever's available, then that is the way that we can keep these soul pods anchoring in a different frequency, which is going to at least be a little bit of a ripple effect, you know.
Yeah, that's very true. And you know, the things that are happening, like, okay, so two things. One, I learned in my own way, and I talked about it on a few shows. I'm not going to talk about the details, but I was exposing myself by video to a certain frequency. I didn't think I was getting a charge out of it, and I just found myself watching it. And I did ask myself, why are you watching this stuff? And then the next thing you know, I actually manifested the exact situation and scenario that I'd been watching on the show, which had to do with intrusive police behavior. Okay.
Oh wow.
And so what I learned at that moment, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I did this. So I knew in that moment, stop, no matter how much I want to watch it, because let's face it, we've all been raised on sensationalism, and you know, that's just been part of that whole fabric of the paradigm. But yeah, I think, and then the second thing is this. I'm starting to really understand that for myself and everybody else, as I observe my own experience and everybody else's in the field, the work I do, that exposing ourselves to this, we'll just call it programming, even if you don't think it affects you in your day-to-day interactions, I think it does. I'm starting to believe that it really does. And, you know, I mean, it's got to affect us. It can't make you, if it doesn't make you feel good and warm and fuzzy, then it's going to affect your field, and that's going to affect your interactions with others and the energy of your day. So
yeah, and I think that's and there's so many layers to it. I feel even the stuff around you know, getting caught in and not that I don't think it's a very, very worthy and cause that needs to be unearthed. The stuff around Save the Children, you know, it sort of becomes another, it's very addictive, you know, it's very addictive to be, and I found myself in it too, and I've been doing a lot of energetic work around that in groups. But it's very deep, the energies that are wanting to come out to the surface. So I think we just have to keep holding our own, and when we get drawn into a piece of the mainstream narrative or another agenda's narrative, just how does it serve us, and is it serving us? You know, really.
Well, I don't know if you saw your well, I always think he's your countryman. It's his partner, Jed Riverstone, is his buddy. But our McManus came on Sunday,
Oh, okay.
And yeah, he came on and he spoke about his personal experience involving
Mm,
human trafficking, pedophilia,
mm,
the
mm.
what do you call it? Well, you know, the cabal or whatever. But
Yeah, yeah.
what really struck me about the way that show was received, because again, I'm very sensitive. I watch. I
Mm,
can't do a lot of things, but I know I can read the field
mm,
involving this what I
mm,
do. And
mm,
where I really saw the value of it more than anything,
mm,
was not in the story, because we all know the story. There's enough
yes.
information out
Yeah.
there, but it's actually an individual just
Mm,
telling their story,
mm, yeah.
for the purpose of release, alignment,
Yeah.
healing, whatever you want to call it. And a
Yeah.
lot like the Me Too movement, you know,
Yes.
where that,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 Of course. Yeah.
and,
And
and
yeah.
yeah. So go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, of course. And I'm not negating that it's an important uh, s- piece that needs to come out. It feels like it's part of this galactic old control system. Yeah. That
Absolutely.
that needs to be dissolved. And yeah, so in that, I mean, it feels like there's a lot of stuff coming up for people in their physicals around um, the that particular topic in the in regards to past life stuff, and also a lot of the old Atlantis stuff coming out as well for people, you know.
I mean, there's really no way we could come into the potential, the higher potentials, if not the full potential,
Mm,
and objective of our higher awareness on these incarnations that we've come here to experience and expand with. But there's no
yes.
way to do it if we don't take all the shit in too. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
we really, seriously, and I think that's
Mm,
part of the reason that the
mm,
you know, the telling the story is so
mm,
important, because it involves the individual perspective, and with that
yes.
perspective, you get all the different multifaceted aspects of the human, the mental, the emotional, the physical.
Yes.
You know, you
Yeah.
get the fears,
Yes.
you get the anger, you get the rage. I mean, you get it
Of
all.
course.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so I think that's a really I think that's a really important. And what I loved about him too is that
Mm.
he was not damning. He was
It was
not
not like.
he was not like damning
Mm,
the perpetrator energy.
mm,
He was actually
mm,
painfully speaking from the higher awareness, and applying it and embodying it is difficult and as flawed as we
mm.
all is still
Yes.
flawed in our human aspect. But so it's a brave, bold step, and I'm all for anything that
Mm,
that the focus is stemming from the individual speaking from their own experience versus pointing fingers right or wrong at other people,
mm,
because that's separation. I'm sorry, I
mm.
mean, it
Yeah,
doesn't matter what the
for
situation
sure.
is. Separation is separation, oneness is oneness, and there's no in between.
Of course. So, shall we do something like language
Yeah,
style around this
yeah,
subject?
yeah, absolutely. Let's do that, because I was about to shift gears.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna.
Let's just quickly do that. So I just want to really work on the lower three chakras: the solar plexus, the sacral, and the base chakra.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this energy, so light language. I'm sure people know what it is. It's just sound from different dimensional frequencies. That is really just to support the clearing and release of old energetic distortions that come up in regards to certain repeated experiences karmically that are currently outplaying. Yeah. So I just want to bring through some sound, and all you guys have to do is really allow it to listen, touch your energy body, and work with whatever it needs to do. And so, specifically, this energy is around galactic galactic lifetimes where you have been in enslavement or the AI or the forced breeding programs from other dimensional beings. So anything that wishes to come up to the surface to be released from those energetic memories within your light body, we're just inviting them to come now. Come, 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 come. Come to the surface. This is even including those memories or those past lives where we have been a perpetrator or a predator. We've all done everything, so no judgment in that. This is just releasing all back to light. And then just take a deep breath. You might have some water if you've got some. And just rest into that space that we've just created. How you doing?
I'm good. I just have razor blades in my throat.
Really? Oh, no.
That was pre-existing.
Do we need to do a little something to the throat chakra too? Eh?
If you want to.
Maybe. Yeah, why not?
Absolutely. Yeah, if you want to.
Okay.
You're bringing tears to people.
Oh, bless everybody that's tuning in. Thank you.
So
this is So I just want to work with the throat chakra here, just for. So this is around feeling like we've been restricted in being able to speak. So this could be around the masks. This could be around past lives, around galactic invasion, and shutdown, enslavement. Obviously, it can also tie into our own child of origin, family stuff. So this is about this is a global, I feel, global activation for the for the throat chakra. This is the Palladian beings of light. So there are so many of them with us today. Feel their energy with us, sending us so much love that they want us to know that, hey, we're never alone. We may feel it from time to time in this outpouring of chaos as the grid shift and the earth shifts, but they're with us, holding us very kindly, lovingly, and supportively. So this is deep into the throat chakra. This is around, it's like that primal roar or rage that we never got to express. So let us release that, I would say, death cry, if you will. Release that death cry from the collective. It's like that moment of seeing torture or fear. So we just want to, or an extinguishing of life, So we want to release that moment of impact on our nervous system. So this could be very much related to the extinguishing of the populace at Atlantis, So we want to release anything around Atlantis, whichever side we played at the time, doesn't matter, from this throat chakra now. Okay, so just taking a moment.
So it is. You mentioned Atlantis.
Mm.
Somebody asked you to go a little deeper into that earlier before you started that, and then somebody else mentioned, well, it was mentioned 2 other times, so I feel like I got to bring it up. Is there anything you can, any light you can shed on what you're feeling about that?
Atlantis in particular, is that what we're saying?
Yeah, like
Uh,
what it's referring to, and you mentioned it again. Somebody
okay,
said
so
it. Oh yeah,
so for
Denise.
me,
Go ahead.
yeah, no, I
Go
was
ahead.
just going to say, so for me, I feel I can only speak from my own personal experience. I'm sure other people know more information about Atlantis than I do. Energetically, I feel that, because we're dissolving out of a whole dimensional experience, we have to really allow all this old stuff, including the Atlantean timeline, to come to the surface to finally dissolve and not keep replaying within our matrices. And so I feel, because of the situation where, a global pandemic is mirroring a potential catastrophe, a fall of a global experience, then it's mirroring for us that Atlantean fall. Even though it's not going to happen that way, there's the energetics that are coming up in those that have past lives in Atlantis, or a memory of Atlantis in the energy of their body. So this is often, people talk about Atlantis around power. So I feel a lot of the light worker community, the star seeds, those kind of peeps, they have strong connections with that time, and many of us have fear and trauma around stepping up into our new roles, and in this experience, this time, because of maybe like, for example, I remember for me that I wasn't working for the light back then, yeah. So part of why I'm here today is actually to recorrect that karmically, I feel. But so there's fear that comes up around stepping into the power of who I am, and if I do that, will it then end up being some disastrous occurrence like last time? So so it's sort of like in Atlantis, it could be that. It could be like fear of stepping up into your power and doing something potentially destructive, or the fear of others' power, or owning your power. So issues around power, I feel very much around Atlantis. But in processing and releasing these energies from this area, then we have the greater potential to come into deeper contact with the soul gifts that are wanting to emerge at this point. Because really, all soul contracts that have gone before are now null. So that means, that's what I've been feeling lately, is that all of these things, setups with people this lifetime, karma that we have worked with this lifetime, connections we've connected to this lifetime, this is all unraveling as the dimensional frequency drops, so that we have a space to create a new map. And I feel like what I've been feeling is that there's new star maps been anchored in through the grids as the old ones have dropped. And that means that we then have new new missions that are not about resolving karma from a past life, but are that are just more of what our soul is wishing to birth, without hooking into the karmic sort of cycle. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder too if I had a couple of recalls from Atlantis, two dimensional experiences, but it was quite a few number of years ago, and there wasn't a lot of great detail into the overall. Although I remember when it was all, basically falling apart. That
Yeah.
like on that day, when everybody knew it. But what I was going to say is that I wonder if, because we know that Atlantis was an advanced civilization, I think we might even underestimate the fact that we are. But regardless, if
Sure.
we're talking energy in the spectrum, everything's one and the same in terms of, what the energy is doing. It just looks different on the surface. But what I'm trying to say is, I wonder if
Yeah.
there was a collective, energetic, uh, you know, imprint put onto the collective, similar to the quarantine, to the mask, to the taking away that. I wonder if, in Atlantis we had, as the population, as a community, we're in the same boat and saying, hey, wait a minute, that's not right, that's not right. And maybe that's where the throat comes in. And I think you spoke a minute ago about primal rage or something, or being able to, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what I was getting on the previous show, was getting that every one of us is not going to have a choice at the end of the day. We're going to have to step up and be heard. And I don't just mean on topics such as we're talking about. I'm talking about how we feel, what we love, what's okay, what's not okay, and just being upfront and direct about it. I wonder if that's, what happened there, that we didn't, that the populace didn't speak up for whatever reason.
And I think that, and I think also that not just Atlantis. I think that's one that we often, as a collective of souls, remember and resonate with. But I feel like there's been many different galactic wars and takeover of planets where this kind of things happened. Especially around there was something I did a channel just before the whole the Victorian shutdown in Australia, and the mask thing started to become a thing here, whereas previously it wasn't really talked about, and so there was a lot of distress around that. And with the chat, there was this galactic lifetime that came in around. It could be Orion, but I'm not sure. Where a whole planet was actually taken off planet and hijacked, and because the air of this other planet was different, they all had to wear these masks for the rest of their oxygen masks or whatever they're called, masks for the rest of their life. And so I think people that have had similar past life experiences will be triggered by different things.
Yeah.
Like for example, a lot of the mainstream folk that are more triggered by the threat of disease.
Yeah. Definitely.
It just feels like a different trigger. Yeah.
True. What about I don't really feel like anyone really knows what's going to happen. What I do feel is that it's obviously going to be hugely, in human terms, hugely positive, hugely aligning. We're all going to continue to expand, and I believe that. I absolutely know that. And that what's going to happen is far beyond our comprehension, it really is. But if there's a lot of talk about contact, of course, and it just seems to me that if there was going to be contact, the most likely place and I'm talking about, I guess, on a more of a physical level. We've had, some of us have had, experiences with translucent beings and so on. But inner Earth, to me, would seem like that would be the most logical place, in that it's part of the physical structure of the Earth, You mentioned
Mm,
Inner Earth a while ago, and at the
mm.
top of the show, what's your feeling on Inner Earth? Why did you mention it? I mean, what are you feeling about that?
So when I was doing a workshop with people a couple of months ago, just the intel, all the intel that I can say about it is that I feel like there's lots of uh, uh, there's lots of beings there that are supporting the shift up the top. I don't feel they'll come to the surface yet, um, but but they're energetically helping with the grid shifts, is what I hear, so that the consciousness can be shifted, because those that wish everything to stay in, I guess, the the way of enslavement and siphoning of frequency, um, keep relaying onto the dissolved hologram patterns that keep it looking like it's still alive. Yeah. So there's many beings that are in Earth, different nations. Some Lemurian. I actually hear some reptilian. They say not all reptilians bad, and that they're actually trying to keep those that wish to keep perpetuating a certain kind of hologram, to dissolve that from the grids as soon as it gets put back up. So they're supporting those of on the ground crew. And the ground crew, I would say, light workers, earth workers that are working with the grids all over the world, and also those from above, the galactics, the
Hmm.
Palladians, Barons, and others that are all trying to really create the new Earth at the same time. Yeah.
I just got the impression, like when you first started talking about that, you were actually
Mm.
connecting to them directly. I know you do light language and you connect to different star family.
Mm.
Do you channel at will with certain star family or inner Earth?
I can sort of direct my consciousness to ask for questions. If, yeah,
You want
a
to do
little
that?
bit.
You try
You
that?
you got a question?
Do I have a question? Well, we've got four lives going. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest. My curiosity and more is
Mm.
with. I'm feeling I'm feeling inner Earth, and I've been
Mm.
feeling inner Earth since we moved
Mm.
into this place a few weeks ago.
Mm.
There's a dry riverbed behind the house. The last
Mm.
few nights, um, and I knew because I was shown from the first day that there's a portal. There's a big portal here.
Mm.
But the last 2 days, and so I've seen like elemental and nature being energy.
Mm.
The last 2 nights, as I'm staring in the back,
Mm.
it was beyond elemental energy, and it
Mm.
felt like that. It felt like something coming from that direction, like inner Earth. So I have to say, my curiosity is stemming that way. Uh, but I
Um,
don't know. See, I don't know if you know. Oh, here. Okay, well, here, Janie has a question. What can I do to manifest easier? Um,
mm.
let's see.
Uh,
That's all I got for now. But I don't know. I
okay.
don't know.
I'm looking.
Whatever you feel, and
Um,
whatever you think.
so I feel like let's just go and have a conversation with. Um, so just for those that may feel a little um, concerned about labels and ETs and energies from other sources. Um, I always ask for the highest protection from Angel Michael. Yeah, I always ask for the highest protection from Angel Michael up my spine and up through my chakra pillar up to the 12th chakra and beyond. So I feel protected and held with love, that anything that I bring forth through this channel is to support the highest good of all of us watching. And so having that been said, let us just dip into the frequency of Middle Earth, Inner Earth, and see what comes. And if that doesn't feel safe, or that doesn't feel like something that you want to experience or witness, you can put mute for a little while, yeah, on your computer. And then but if you wish to sort of go for a deep dive and see what happens, because that's always exciting. Let's do that, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Very cool.
So you bring your mind in through your chakra system, out, down, and it's almost like you look down into Middle Earth, into Inner Earth. Many beings here, many beings of many nationalities, many races, many timelines, many dimensions. The ones that we'd like to talk to mostly are those from the Muir. So they say, dear ones, we have been watching, and we will continue to watch the outplay of the dissolution of a outdated and energetically limited system. We are feeding into the consciousness of many of your soul tribe the coordinates and the energetic activations that are required for you to anchor certain grid points of light. You can use your quartz crystals if you wish. You can drink water and pee on the earth, whatever you prefer. But you are, each of you, in every moment, anchoring in a new grid system through the subconscious guidance from us. Never feel as though you have been dropped or left by us. We are here in the moments of stillness and quietness in your minds. All you need to do is to sit, find some peace within, and connect with us. Feel us in your hearts. We are here always. So it is, and so it is, and so it is. So then just coming back to yourself here.
That's crazy. When you started that, what I was seeing was exactly what's coming out of your mouth.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. Like if I would have to said what I was seeing, you were saying exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So it feels like we've got a lot of support from them. Yeah. I think that's why there is a lot of disruption on the surface, because so that we get distracted from connecting because it's the veils have thinned a lot, you know.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. You got anything? You got anything coming up in over there? I guess you're
Oh,
kind of.
me?
Yeah, I guess you're kind of. Or maybe you're doing stuff online. Are you doing anything online?
Oh, okay. So I'm still working with clients one-on-one. I'm doing that online here, and I'm doing some online groups when I feel it. I haven't got anything planned quite yet. But yeah, people can hook into my work through Facebook, and I do some free stuff on Facebook Live. I do one-on-one channelings, light language activations, healings through my website, through Zoom and usual sort of online ways. And I'll keep, if you sign up to me on Facebook, my name Michael Muir, follow me on Facebook. You'll see when I'm going to do like another group, and I do sort of like a 1 hour or 2 hour channeling, depending for certain days, such as the 8-8 alignment. And sometimes related to moon cycles, so it just depends, but I'm just being guided to be a little quieter at the moment, but I'm here for one-on-one sessions, and if you keep an eye on my Facebook, you'll get to see it when I'm doing
Yeah, I think
online groups. Yeah,
right.
same thing.
Yeah, I think the being quiet's good advice right now for everybody.
Yeah, well,
You know,
I'm not very good at it, but I'm trying my best.
what's I gonna? How big is your? I'm just curious. How big is your art? Do you have a pretty big archive of videos that you've done? Between, I mean, they may not be all in one place, but I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
I would think you've
I've
had
got
to do.
quite a lot of stuff. I've
Go
got
ahead.
quite there's quite a bit of free stuff on YouTube, and you can access my YouTube through my website, www.soulmagiccollective.com, and people, I'll pop it on the link after. But there's so there's quite a bit of stuff there. There's some stuff on my website, and when I do Facebook Lives, if they're in it, I do them in a private group, and they're also accessible for people who really want to access. The 8-8 was quite a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious because I know I see you quite a bit. I thought he's got to have a few hundred of those. You've had to be on video a few hundred
They're
times.
building. I don't always put them on YouTube, but yeah. So I'm gathering a catalog, I suppose.
Right on. That's the new Akashic, man. It's got a physical aspect to it.
True.
Well, man, I look forward to catching up with you again later in the year. And
Thanks, man.
if you have anything big come up, let me know. Like, before, let me know. And Super can expand awareness for it. Best to you and yours always. And thank you so much for being such a brave, beautiful brother, and just getting up and doing it every day, because I know it takes a lot. And you have my deepest respect.
No worries, man. Thank you, and thanks for everything you do for the community. And put some money in his Patreon.
Thank you. See you later.